Did you ever get angry when somebody insulted you, or when you got caught out doing something? For example, maybe you lied and you got caught out, or maybe you did something really stupid and somebody found out, or maybe you were just really dirty and you did something where somebody saw that you were so dirty, and maybe you got angry because you got embarrassed, or this feeling of anger came up. Well, in this video, I'm going to be explaining why that happens using depth psychology. We're going to be looking inside your mind and seeing what's actually going on and causing that anger to rise up. So let's just jump straight into the video and start with example number 1 of the quality of being a liar or lying. So let's just have a look at this diagram here. This represents your whole mind. Now in the top we have the conscious mind, and in the bottom we have the unconscious. And this will be the same for all 3 examples. And in the middle we have here you. And in depth psychology, we call this dot in the diagram, it's represented as a dot. We call it the ego, or you inside your mind. So your mind is broken up into these 2 parts, the conscious mind and the unconscious. Right now, as you're watching this video, you're inside your conscious mind, and you're conscious of some things. You're not conscious of every memory you've ever had, every feeling you've ever experienced, every thought you've ever had. They don't all exist in your conscious mind at one time. In fact, one of the main adjectives or describing words we use to describe the conscious mind is that it's really good for excluding things. So when you're conscious, you're focused. And focus doesn't really mean focusing on one thing. What it means is not focusing on anything else. It's excluding everything else. So let's move on to why you feel angry. So the opposite quality of being a liar is being honest. And what happens in the mind as the mind develops? In society, there are positive and negative qualities. And what happens is you want to connect the qualities which society around you sees as positive to your own personality. And that's what you consciously understand about yourself. So as an example, when you're in society, or let's just say you had to make a video and everyone within a 10 kilometers around you was going to see that video, and you were talking about yourself, would you say, hey, my name's Daniel, I'm a liar? Or would you say, I lie all the time? Or would you say, hey, my name's Daniel, I'm honest and I always tell the truth, right? You're going to say that you're honest and you always tell the truth, or you're going to talk about your positive qualities, because you're going to talk about the qualities that the society that you grew up in or the society that you're living in perceives as positive. And so what happens is you develop what's called a persona. And this just means that the quality of honest is connected consciously. Let's just say this green dot represents the quality of honest in your conscious mind. It is connected to your ego, or to you in your mind. So when you, like I was saying before, when you're describing yourself as honest. It's very easy to bring up this quality in your mind because it's connected to your ego, and it's a conscious quality of your personality. And so the opposite of this quality, the liar, is going to be unconscious. And in depth psychology, we refer to this as the shadow. And so I'll just use a red pen to draw the shadow. And so this represents the shadow. And one of the qualities that is in your shadow, in the shadow in this example, is the liar. And so we represent that with the red dot. And so a person with this psychological orientation, which is mostly you, right? Even me, we don't want to be a liar. We don't want to be stupid. We don't want to be dirty. We want to be honest. We want to be all these other positive qualities, because that's what society is going to reward us for, essentially. It's because that's what, over time, as we've grown up, we've developed a connection to this quality in our mind, and the other quality is thrown away. When you're a child, your parents will tell you, don't lie. And if you lie, you might get a smack, or I definitely got smacked. Or you might get, some other kind of reprimand. And so that teaches you to be some things, but not be other things, right? And to disconnect some qualities from your mind, and to connect other qualities to you inside your mind. Okay, so now we know that this is the basic structure of the mind here, and I'll just label this as the shadow. Okay, and so what happens is when somebody insults you, let's just say in the specific example of being a liar, when you lie, and you might do it unconsciously, right? Because that's what happens, is that just because this is this quality is separated from consciousness, it doesn't mean that it doesn't still belong to your mind and to your personality. It does. Everybody lies. Okay, it's a human quality. And so what happens is when somebody does call you a liar, but you in your mind only have a connection to the honest part of your personality, then something rises into your mind. And we call it, in depth psychology, the anima or the animus. I won't go too deep into it in this one. However, what it's going to do, the reason that it comes up is because the anima or the animus comes up to defend the persona. Okay, so let's just take a specific example. Let's just say you're at your house and then your friend calls you and says, hey, you owe me that $20 from 2 weeks ago. You forgot about it and you didn't send it to me. And you say, yes, I did. Okay, and now so there's a disconnect here because one person thinks that the money was sent and the other person thinks that the money wasn't sent. So somebody's lying, right? And what happens is, let's just say in this situation, it was you. What happens is when this quality is unconscious, often it's lived out unconsciously, which means that in this example, you actually did not send the money, but you just thought that you did, right? And so you're actually lying. And what happens is, or you may have said a week ago that you sent it or something like that and you just forgot. Maybe you were halfway through sending it and you just forgot. Or you just purposely didn't send it at all, right? In this case, you've lied. And what happens is, because you're only in connection to the positive quality in your mind of being honest, and let's just say telling the truth, the fact that you lied is unconscious. And when your friend is going to say, let's just say your friend says on the phone call, you're a liar. You're lying. You didn't send the money. I did not receive anything. You're a liar, right? You might experience this anger immediately rise and take hold of you. And it just completely overwhelms you. And what I normally describe it, the way I normally describe it and kind of explain it is it's as if this quality or this anger is like rising up and taking hold of you inside your mind. It's taking complete control of you. And you may say something you regret. You may do something you regret. You may say, screw you. I said, you get really angry, right? Or you may just get really angry and not really know why. And you just hold your breath and keep cool because you can sense that the anger is trying to overwhelm you, right? And so what's happening here is that this quality, this negative quality, is simply disconnected from your mind. And let's just say hypothetically it was in connection to your mind and you were conscious of that quality, right? You were conscious of both qualities inside you, inside your personality in your mind. Then when you're called a liar, you might just say, oh wait, you're right, I did lie. And you would just be neutral. That feeling wouldn't rise up and take hold of you immediately, right? And that's just because of a simple structure of your mind of that this quality of being a liar is unconscious. And that's why your anima or your animus rises up to defend the persona. And the persona is essentially a one-sided development of the personality. And it just means that it's like a mask that's trying to hide the other negative quality. So a neutral or balanced mind is going to have connection to both the positive and negative qualities, or to all qualities that are part of the personality. And the way we describe it in depth psychology is just relation. So there's a conscious relationship or conscious relation to these qualities. And so when you have a conscious relation to these qualities, this quality would no longer be in the shadow. It would just be a conscious quality of the personality. And so that the persona would also not exist, at least for this quality. Let's just say it's the liar and the opposing qualities of being a liar and being honest, right? If you know that you're a liar and you know that you're also honest, then when somebody insults you, when somebody calls you one of these qualities, you're not going to have a response from your psyche of an anima or animus defending the persona. And the reason I say anima and animus is the anima is what rises up to defend the positive quality in a male psyche, and the animus is what is the complex or the force that rises up in the female psyche or the female mind to defend the persona. So the persona is basically you inside your mind believing that you're only honest and you're never a liar, that other people are liars, other bad people lie, and are dishonest, right? But you don't. You're only honest. And when we look at a person, you know, if somebody told you that they're only ever honest and they've never lied in their entire life, you know, you're going to probably, you know, have a bit of a suspicion there, and you probably won't believe them. Okay, even if you've only just told a small lie, like somebody asked you if they look fat in, you know, some clothes, and you said, no, you look good. Or they got a new haircut and it looks horrible, and you lie to them and tell them it looks good. Right? Even if it's just a small lie, you know, lying is a quality of the human personality. And so when you're disconnected from that quality in yourself, and then somebody insults you or brings that quality into consciousness, you're going to want to maintain your personality, your persona, right? It's an illusion, right? It's an illusion that you're only ever honest, and that, you know, the bad people or the liars are out there and they're not you. And so that's why you're getting angry, is because you're disconnected from a part of your personality, for example, being a liar. And the exact same thing is what happens when we look at other negative qualities. For example, stupid. Maybe the opposite of that is smart. And so in your unconscious is going to be stupid. You know, who wants to be stupid, right? You know, not many people will say, oh yeah, I'm stupid, right? They're not going to say that straight away. And they're not going to tell you that they're going to tell you that they're smart. They're going to talk about their positive qualities, because they have a conscious relation to their positive qualities, but most of the time not their negative. And especially if somebody's getting angry, then that's what's happening, is that the animus is rising up to defend the persona which has developed in their mind. And so that's just another example of smart and stupid. And lastly, there's dirty. And I bring up these three qualities because these are the ones that are most common in people that are unconscious. You know, people see that being dirty is a negative or inferior quality, and being stupid is a negative or inferior quality, and being a liar is a negative or inferior quality. They're like parts of your personality that you don't want, that you wish you didn't have, or you push away. And so the last example is dirty, and it's the exact same here. We're going to have a development of a shadow quality and a persona, and neither one really comes first. Okay, it's just, I normally draw a line because this does exist, this quality does exist. There's just a one-sided development in the person is what causes the persona to arise. Okay, so these are the negative qualities. And what's interesting here is the unconscious and the conscious mind have a relationship. There is a dynamic between them. And the dynamic is known as compensation. And what that means is the conscious mind is balanced by the unconscious. So, and the unconscious is balanced by the conscious mind. So there's a relationship of balancing there, or compensation. And what normally happens is that unconscious is always trying to balance the conscious mind. And it does that through dreams and nightmares and through other methods. But for now, let's focus on just the simple example of why you get angry. And what I really want to bring up here is that these are negative qualities as perceived by most of Western society. However, what happens is the negative qualities are just what's going to be negative in the society or the place and the people that you grew up around or you are currently living around. And what I'm talking about here is you might get angry not because you're insulted about a negative quality which everybody else thinks is negative, but maybe it's a negative quality that it's always going to be a negative quality that you think is negative, okay? So for example, maybe you think being smart is a negative quality, and maybe you think being stupid is a positive quality. And an example of this is, you know, when I was in high school, I used to hang out with, you know, sometimes with the smart kids and then sometimes with the stupid kids, right? And if you call the smart kids stupid, they're going to get angry straight away, right? That was the previous one we looked at. But what about the stupid kids, right? If you call them smart or call them a geek or call them a nerd, right? Now smart is a negative quality, right? It's a negative quality in their psyche, in their personality, right? In their unconscious. And it becomes part of their shadow. They don't realize they actually are extremely smart. They haven't developed that part of their personality. And so the ego is connected to a positive quality in their social circle, in their group, in their environment, which is positive. And in that example, it's the positive quality is actually stupid. And so what you can see here is that the shadow, and the reason that you get angry from the animal or animus coming up, it's simply that the shadow, the animal or animus defends the persona. And the persona and shadow are the opposite related forces in the mind that develop. So the point is that the quality itself doesn't necessarily matter. It's in terms of there aren't only negative qualities and there aren't only positive qualities. There is a positive and negative side to being smart, and a positive and negative side to being stupid. And so when you become conscious of both qualities in yourself, you're able to see the positive side of being stupid and the negative side of being smart, and the positive side of being smart and the negative side of being stupid. You can see all four sides. And just to give you a quick example, if you're ever starting something new or you're trying to learn something, you're going to be stupid in the beginning. And the more stupid you are, the more stupid questions you ask, the more mistakes that you make, the faster you're going to get smarter, the faster you learn. And being stupid is actually a really good thing. And being smart, the quality of being smart can be a bad thing because of hubris or arrogance or thinking that you know everything. And then you're going to make more mistakes because actually you're just unconsciously being stupid, right? And then, I won't go too deep into it, but what happens is that the unconscious qualities are still lived out. The shadow is still lived out, just unconsciously. So people who believe they're only honest, they're going to lie. They're just not even going to realize it. There's still going to be that quality that is part of their personality, even if they have no relationship to it consciously. And that's the video done. So that's why you get angry. Now, if this topic interests you and you're interested in mastering your mind and understanding more about your mind and personality and the pathway to becoming more conscious and bringing these unconscious qualities into consciousness and relating them to yourself, so really getting to know your own personality and actually becoming more conscious of all the parts of yourself. We've only looked into the shadow and the persona and the conscious and unconscious mind here, but the rabbit hole goes a lot deeper and you can really learn much more about yourself and your mind. And the ultimate goal of learning about your mind is to uncover your unique personality so that you can find your unique path in life and make decisions that are aligning with your unique path in life. And your unique path in life is just your destiny. So hopefully you like this video. If you do want to learn more, just click the link in the description and you can download your free Mind Mastery Blueprint. And that's all for the video, and I'll be posting new videos every single day. So if you like this video, hit subscribe, hit like, and I'll see you in the next one.